Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks are coming off a great division win in Week 7, and they are playing the Cleveland Browns, and hopefully the referee crew does not follow Cleveland up to Seattle for the Seahawks' sake. And the Browns' Week 7 victory, very controversial win over the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, that was just one of the worst calls I think I've ever seen, and so
yeah, it was really bad.
One of the worst, and I'm sure that will be talked about a bunch. But hey, both teams coming into this game now. Let me double check here with Seattle. Yeah, both teams are 4-2 coming to this game. Both teams have already had a bye already, so very early byes. So coming to this game 4-2. One big thing to note as well: Deshaun Watson got hurt early on in the game for the Cleveland Browns, so he did not come back in. It's extremely noticeable, and as PJ Walker came in and filled the rest of the game for the Cleveland Browns. So that will be an injury to watch the entire week, whether it's a concussion, shoulder or knee or whatever it is.
I will say he did clear a concussion protocol on the sideline, but then Kevin Stefanski, the Browns head coach, said, you're done for the day. I saw what I saw. You're out. So
yeah. So he knew he was covered by the end. So he knew his Ebers had his back. So in general, though, what's your overall expectations for both of these teams so far up to this point, this game as well, as we enter this Week 8 matchup?
So I think it's actually maybe going to be a little bit lower scoring than people think. So this is, in my opinion, one of the most physical defenses in the NFL, and the Cleveland Browns going to play one of the best secondaries in the Seattle Seahawks. So I think both these defenses are going to play pretty well. The game that I actually go back to was the Seahawks versus the Rams in Week 1, where you look at Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald, I think are on a similar level in terms of just a complete game changer on the defensive line, right? And they can kind of line up anywhere. Myles Garrett is just a complete game wrecker. He had a huge impact on the Colts game today. And I like that matchup, especially Abraham Lucas did not come back this week for the Seahawks at right tackle. It doesn't really sound like he was as close as they had hoped he would be to being able to come back. So that's an injury to keep your eye on. Even then, I still really like Myles Garrett in that matchup if he is back. So
I like Myles Garrett in every single matchup.
Yeah, very fair, but still, second-year right tackle coming off an injury, hasn't played football in 5 weeks. So it's just, I think, setting Abraham Lucas up to fail a little bit there.
Yeah. So that'll be an injury to monitor as well. Also, too, DK Metcalf did not play in today's game. He was a late scratch. Mm-hmm. I was trying to remember if I saw anything about his injuries at all. That's something to monitor, see if he gets put on IR or not, or maybe it was just for precautionary reasons since, they were going up against the Cardinals.
It was ribs and hips were his.
Okay.
Like it just says Metcalf, ribs and hips is inactive. Like that's all it says. So I had not heard anything up to that point.
Hey, when my ribs and hips hurt all the time, so I wouldn't be able to have played this past Sunday also. So, but in general, though, still a lot of offensive firepower coming from the Seattle Seahawks defense with Tyler Lockett. Jack Smith and Jigba had a good game today. Tyler Lockett, Jake Bobo as well. Shout out to Uncle Jeff. He really likes just saying his name, Bobo. Also, just a pretty cool story just in general. But even you add DK Metcalf in there, there's just a slew of good receiver options for Seattle as well. For Geno Smith to slowly to go through his reads, really spread out the targets, and so you don't really know who's going to be the best receiver that day. They have a lot of good options. While with Cleveland, I feel like they should be significantly more consistent on the offensive side of the ball, especially throwing the ball through the air. Losing Nick Chubb is going to be a huge loss, but I feel like Jerome Ford had a good game today. Kareem Hunt had a good game today, scoring the game-winning touchdown against the Indianapolis Colts. But in general, offensively, Watson just has not had that connection, it seems like, with Amari Cooper. The consistent
We've seen it in spurts, yeah.
That's the consistent connection with Amari Cooper, David Njoku, DPJ, Elijah Moore. And then even into when you saw PJ Walker in there was a significant drop off, just an overall just kind of game awareness, it seems. I think that's going to be the big factor for me coming into this game.
Yeah. I think Deshaun Watson, he didn't technically get put into concussion protocol, Kevin Stefanski was just like, you're not playing. I saw you get knocked out on the field. So that for me is going to be one thing to kind of keep an eye on, is his status throughout the week. But if he plays, we can go ahead and get into predictions. But before we do, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Tyler and I were trying to hit 2,000 subscribers by Halloween. So if you could help us reach that goal, that would be very much appreciated. And it's the easiest way to get notified when we create new content or prediction videos or anything like that. So with that being said, I'm going to kick it off. I am going to go with the Browns if Deshaun Watson plays. If he plays, I think this defense will do enough to kind of get them into enough scoring positions where they will just put up too many points. Also, the Seahawks really struggled, I think, against the Rams in week 1. And granted, it was week 1, but I just think these defenses are pretty comparable, except I think the Browns have a better secondary. So,
yeah, no, the secondary is significantly better. That is very true as well. Than the Los Angeles Rams. The defensive front, I agree with you. I mean, Myles Garrett's playing on just a totally different level. The game that he had today, the blocked field goal, strip sack fumble.
Two strip sacks.
And did he get a touchdown also? Did he recover the fumble?
No, he didn't recover it, but he caused it.
It was the assist, essentially, which is absolutely fine. I don't think he cares either way.
That's the important. That's the step 1 of 2.
Absolutely, yeah. I will say on the flip side, though, the Seahawks defense is actually one. It's improving a lot. Good secondary as well. And also just a good defensive front, a much more improved defensive front also. I'm actually going to go with Seattle at home here. I think there's going to be enough. I think Seattle's going to win like 20-14. I think it's not going to be nearly as high scoring as today's Colts game was, which was absolutely shocking. No one, I mean, I think
the over-under was 40.5.
Yeah, and they beat that by 38 points, 37 points, I think, or something like that. Something stupid. So I have a feeling it's going to be a much more low-scoring game. I have a feeling P.J. Walker is going to play. I don't think Deshaun Watson
If P.J. Walker plays, I will switch to the Seahawks.
Oh, well, that's not fair.
Well, I've done it before. I've done it 2 other times.
I know.
I've just never had to enact the stipulation.
I know, that's fair.
So
I have a feeling P.J. Walker is going to be playing. Even if Deshaun Watson plays, though, I don't know. The quarter that Deshaun Watson played, I mean, he had 2 horrible picks. Like, he did not look good at all. So I'm curious how this game's going to be played. I also feel like Pete Carroll's just a better coach than Kevin Stefanski. I think that's going to play a huge factor as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good matchup. I'm looking forward to this one. But let's go ahead and wrap this video up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Is it going to be the Cleveland Browns? Is it going to be the Seattle Seahawks? And other than that, we will see you guys next time.